Welcome to a deep dive into the Quran. We're going to be uncovering the heart of its message.
Sounds fascinating.
It is. Now, of course, we're not trying to make you scholars overnight, right?
Right.
But rather to pull out those universal truths and aha moments that make this text so enduring.
I like that. Think of it as a guided exploration highlighting the Quran's wisdom.
Exactly. And what makes it so captivating to people across so many centuries?
Definitely.
One of the first things that really struck me was how the Quran intertwines faith and action, particularly when it comes to themes of justice and social responsibility.
Yes.
It's like woven throughout the text.
It's true. The Quran really does offer this framework for ethical conduct that emphasizes that connection.
Yeah.
For instance, in Surah 2, verses 178 to 180, it tackles the law of retaliation. But, and here's what's really fascinating, while it permits retaliation, the emphasis is on forgiveness and reconciliation.
It's like it understands that human desire for justice, but it nudges us towards a higher ground.
Precisely. And this focus on compassion, it extends to social welfare as well. You'll find throughout the Quran, there's this emphasis on justice that touches upon everything from interpersonal interactions to how a society cares for its most vulnerable members.
Right.
For example, verses 271 to 273 of Surah 2 highlight charity and the importance of supporting those who are less fortunate.
And this is where it gets really interesting for me, I think. Verse 273, it paints such a vivid picture of those in need, describing those who are restrained in the way of Allah. How does this connect to the broader concept of social justice in Islam?
It's a call to action. It's saying that true piety, it goes beyond just personal rituals. It's about actively creating a just and equitable society.
Right.
By recognizing and supporting those who are struggling.
So it's an active thing. It's not just about, praying on your own. It's about going out and doing good in the world.
Exactly. Action is a key part of faith.
And this concern for fairness, it's not limited to any one group, right? The Quran also speaks about treating women fairly.
Yes, absolutely.
Particularly in matters of inheritance and divorce. We see this in Surah 3, verses 127 to 130, ensuring that their rights are protected.
It's about establishing a balance within society, recognizing the dignity and rights of all individuals.
Okay, so speaking of balance, the Quran doesn't shy away from laying down the law, right?
It does.
But it always does so with a sense of profound compassion, I find.
Yes.
Take the concept of fasting during Ramadan, for example.
Okay.
As described in Surah 2, verse 183. It's not just about abstaining from food and drink. You might be surprised to learn that the Quran connects fasting to developing a greater sense of empathy for those who are less fortunate.
It's about cultivating righteousness, this concept central to the Quran, which is about, striving to live a life aligned with God's will, both in our inward intentions and outward actions.
It's about aligning those things, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Feels like it's holistic in a way.
It's very holistic.
And this concept of righteousness, this goes beyond the big picture. It goes into even the smallest details of how we live our lives, like how we interact with others. I was fascinated by the passage about approaching someone's house.
Oh, interesting.
In Surah 2, verse 189.
Okay, yeah.
What did you think about that?
Well, it might seem like a small detail, right? Advising to approach homes from the front door, but it underscores the Quran's emphasis on respect and proper conduct in all aspects of life. Even something as simple as how you walk to a neighbor's door carries weight.
It's about being mindful, I guess, of even those little things.
Mindfulness, yes, very much so.
It's like every detail matters in building a life that reflects those core values. And, it reminds me of how much the Quran emphasizes storytelling.
Yeah.
Like weaving in these tales of prophets throughout the text. We encounter figures like Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus.
Right.
All these stories kind of offering moral lessons and guidance.
Yeah.
Why do you think these narratives are so central to the Quran?
It's fascinating, isn't it? They really do serve as these guides,
Yeah.
Illustrating the path of faith and obedience to God.
Yeah.
And they offer these relatable experiences of those who face trials but emerge triumphant,
Right.
providing inspiration for believers who are, navigating their own journeys.
Yeah, so it's not just about knowing the stories, but it's about actually
Right.
extracting wisdom from them.
Exactly.
It's kind of like how we might, find guidance in the experiences of mentors or historical figures or something like that.
Absolutely.
Take, for example, the story of Moses confronting Pharaoh.
Okay.
Found in Surah 7, verses 103 to 115.
Right.
It's It's a powerful reminder to stand up for truth and justice,
Mm-hmm.
even when you're faced with, like, overwhelming opposition.
Yeah, it speaks to the courage that's needed to remain true to your convictions.
And courage isn't always about confronting these, like, big, powerful figures.
Right.
Sometimes it's about challenging, like, societal norms or going against the grain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the story of the prophet Shuaib
Okay.
in Surah 11, verses 91 to 95,
Mm-hmm.
where he emphasizes placing faith above tribal loyalty,
Yes.
which is a message that I think really resonates even today.
Absolutely. It highlights the Quran's timeless relevance, Speaking to that human tendency to prioritize group allegiance
Right.
over individual conscience.
Yeah.
It's a call to really examine our own loyalties and make sure they align with our values.
And sometimes those stories take us to unexpected places.
Yes.
Right. And they prompt us to grapple with these profound questions.
Yeah.
About faith and existence.
Mm-hmm.
The story of the people of the cave, found in Surah 18, verses 9 to 16, really captivated me.
Okay.
It's almost like a riddle,
It is. Yeah.
kind of shrouded in mystery.
Yeah.
What do you make of that story?
It's one of those narratives that invites multiple interpretations, I think.
Yep.
On one level, it's about faith and persecution,
Mhm.
the lengths to which people will go to protect their beliefs.
Right.
But it also touches on the nature of time itself,
Oh, yeah.
how our perception of it can be fluid
Interesting.
and subjective.
Okay.
It's as if the Quran is saying, don't take everything literally.
Yeah.
Look deeper.
Look deeper, yeah. And that invitation to look deeper, to engage in critical reflection, that's a recurring theme, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about, like, blindly accepting, but it's about questioning, pondering,
Right.
arriving at your own understanding.
Precisely. The Quran does not shy away from posing these difficult questions
Yeah.
and prompting self-reflection. It's about engaging with the text actively, not passively absorbing it.
And this active engagement sometimes involves confronting uncomfortable truths.
Mm-hmm.
Alongside its messages of mercy, the Quran also issues warnings
Yeah.
about straying from the path of righteousness.
That's right.
We see this in Surah 20, verses 21 and 22, where it cautions against arguing about God without knowledge.
It's a reminder that true knowledge is rooted in humility
Okay.
and a willingness to learn. It's about approaching these discussions with an open heart and mind
Yeah.
and recognizing the limits of our own understanding.
And acknowledging that even when presented with, like, clear guidance,
Yeah.
the choice ultimately lies with the individual.
Yes.
Surah 36, verses 6 to 10 highlights that even with warnings, some might choose to disbelieve.
Yeah, it speaks to the complexities of free will, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
It underscores the responsibility that comes with free will.
Yeah.
We are accountable
We are.
for our choices,
Yes.
even when presented with guidance and warnings.
It's a powerful message about the weight of our decisions.
Right, it's like the Quran is saying, here are the signposts.
Right.
But ultimately, the journey is yours.
The journey is yours.
And speaking of journeys, there's this incredibly striking metaphor in Surah 29, verse 41,
Okay.
about a spider web.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about those who rely on anything other than God being like someone building a house out of spider webs.
Wow.
It's such a vivid image.
It is.
What's the deeper meaning behind that, do you think?
That analogy is such a powerful reminder about the fleeting nature of worldly security.
Yeah.
The spider web, while intricate and deceptively strong, is ultimately fragile.
Yeah.
And it's a metaphor for placing your trust in things that can easily crumble,
Okay.
possessions, status, fleeting relationships.
It's a pretty stark reminder that true security, it doesn't come from, those external things.
Yeah.
It comes from building our foundation on something more enduring, I guess.
I believe-
Something beyond just the material world.
Something beyond. Yeah, the Quran repeatedly emphasizes that,
Yeah.
only God is unchanging, and aligning ourselves with his guidance, that offers true stability
Right.
in a world that's constantly in flux.
Yeah, no, that's really well said.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this deep dive has been incredible.
It has.
We've explored so much. We've talked about themes of justice, the power of storytelling, the importance of reflection, and even, warnings about straying from what's right.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see how these threads, they all weave together.
They do.
And create this tapestry of wisdom that's both timeless and still so relevant to our lives.
It's true, and to think we've only just scratched the surface.
Right.
The Quran is a text that reveals new depths.
Yeah.
With every reading.
It's true.
It invites us to engage with its message on so many levels.
It's like a wellspring of insights. It's something that offers guidance, it prompts reflection, even long after you've finished reading a passage. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, what stands out to you, our listener?
That's a good question.
What resonated most deeply with you?
Yes.
What new questions has this exploration sparked for you?
Yeah. What will you take away from this?
Because ultimately, the most meaningful insights are those that we discover through our own reflection and connection with these powerful verses.
Yeah, beautifully said.
Thanks for joining us, and until next time.